I just finished surfacing a bunch of 2x4s that are going to be used for the frame of the rack. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut each one of these down right in the middle so that I have some narrower pieces of wood for the frame. After ripping the boards on the table saw, I ran them through my planer one more time to get rid of some of the saw marks and to make sure that they are the exact same thickness. I've set up a stop so that I can cut a 7-degree angle at the bottom of this one board. I just finished chamfering all of the edges on these cross pieces here on the router and gave them a light sanding, and it's time to assemble each side of the rack. I went ahead and clamped a block to the end of the workbench so that I can rest these two side rails right up against it so that I know that they will be nice and even, and that will allow me to square up this piece. The boards that I've made, of course, are going to be the exact same distance apart here, so that should allow this to be perfectly square once I put everything together. So I'm simply going to put some glue in the joint and just one screw. That's all I'm going to be using. There's going to be a lot of these joints, so it should hold together pretty well. So let's put a little bit of glue. And I've already drawn out the lines as to where I want these to go with the clamps. The screws that I'm using are 1 5/8 coarse drywall screws, and they should go straight in. Okay. So with both boards in like that, we should be pretty square. So I think I'll do the bottom one first. Okay, so now I'll just do the same thing for all of the other components here. Now I'm going to want to push it together just a little bit. I think the board's slightly bowed. So I think I'll actually use a clamp. Now I'll do the same thing to the larger one. The feet to each one of these clamp racks has a 7-degree bevel on it. And I'm trying to line it up on the mobile base so that they land nice and flat. So to keep everything together, I have temporarily braced it together with some clamps and a board. So my goal is to take some screws and just go right into the bottom here, into the base. And once I've gotten all 4 legs secured, then I can figure out just exactly how wide a board I need to have for that span. I've attached a heavy beam with some clamps, which is leaning up against the supports here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill at an angle and put this fairly long screw into the base. Now, I'm actually going to drill a slightly bigger hole in that board itself because I don't want it to split. Okay, here goes nothing. Well, that went in very nicely. It's right below the surface. So now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side here. I've now clamped both sides and everything is nice and level. I checked it with the floor. And I've made up 2 braces, which are going to go right here. Now, because these sides are all beveled, I went ahead and sent this board through my planer and made it a little bit narrower than these boards so that when I put this in, it lines up with those chamfers there. And of course, I chamfered all the edges there as well. So all I'm going to do is install this centered here on both sides. I'll just drill in, use a little bit of glue, and that should be supporting the top very, very nicely. This is the underside of a shelf that I'm adding to the cart. I've pre-drilled and I've actually put the screws in already because I'm going to be doing this upside down. Now for the fun part. Now I need these to line up a little bit better. There it is. Seems like every project I do is pretty awkward. I went ahead and glued this little bottom framing member to the shelf, and then I screwed it in from the sides. So that shelf should be really, really strong. I'm not really planning on putting anything really heavy on it, but if I need to, I guess I can. I put drywall compound over all of the screw holes, and I also put it on the edge of the plywood to cover up any voids. And it has dried overnight, so now I'm going to take a rasp and smooth it down almost all the way down to the wood, and then I'll use sandpaper to smooth it out. And then of course that will be followed with a coat of primer, which in this case is just some leftover white sealing paint. And when that's dry, I'll be ready to add my grizzly green. It took forever to put the primer on, about an hour and a half, and then another hour and a half for the first coat of green paint. I'll have to put another coat on as well. But as you can see, it holds a lot of clamps and they're held on very securely and they're easy to move around the shop. On the bottom, I'm able to put the 3 different types of Titebond glue that I use. And that middle shelf there, I'm able to hold some other glue bottles. So I'm really looking forward to using this, and I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, please hit the like button and please subscribe. Thank you.